For those who don't know, Pueblo Sin Fronteras is an immigrant rights organization here in the city of Chicago. They do a lot of support for folks needing help with immigration, language skills, and any number of different things. And I'm going to leave it over to Anita and a little bit later Richard, both representatives of Robert of Pueblo Sin Fronteras, to tell us about the sort of work they do. But before we do, I'd like to welcome you to our weekly show here on CAN TV as part of the LGBT Consortium. The Gay Liberation Network is a gay, lesbian, bisexual, transgender direct action group active for many years in the city. And if you'd like to get involved in GLN, we'd invite you to come to our next meeting. We meet the first Wednesday of each month at the Gerberhardt Library, which is Chicago's gay, lesbian, bi, trans resource center located right next to the Red Line Granville stop. Our next meeting is, you can see, is 7 p.m. Wednesday, April 2nd. If you want to get involved with the Gay Liberation Network, we invite you to check out our website, which is www.gayliberation.net. But tonight we're going to be talking about the anti-war movement. We're going to be talking about immigrant rights and how not only LGBT people, but all people fit into that struggle. Pueblo Sin Fronteras has been a major builder of the huge immigrant rights marches in this city. People may remember last year on May 1st and other dates, and hopefully Anita will tell us a little bit about that. Tell us about preparations for this year's march, Anita, if you could.
Well, preparations for this year's march, we're organizing a coordinators meeting to begin the promotion and the organization of May Day's march this year of 2008. I think it's very important as far as the youth go, that the youth are really involved. This year we're trying to organize the students again, like last year for the 2007 May Day March. We organized the high schools to walk out. This year what we want to do is coordinate with the universities and the colleges throughout Chicago and Illinois so that they can also walk out and join as youth contingents this year for May Day.
Yeah, and I'm happy to say that the Gay Liberation Network and hopefully a number of other LGBT organizations will be joining this year's march, because we think it's important not just to support immigrant rights in general, because when anyone's being discriminated against, we're all at risk, but also lesbian and gay people have particular reasons, we believe, to support immigrant rights. For example, there's many people that are very viciously oppressed in countries around the world, many of them supported by these governments supported by the United States government, and people need to be able to flee those countries and get refugee status in this country for the anti-gay oppression that they face. Another very common issue that we see over and over again is the issue of so-called binational couples, where one person is a U.S. citizen and one person is foreign-born. If you're heterosexual, you can marry and hopefully get your partner naturalized. Not that that's easy, but LGBT people don't even have that option, where we can't marry our partner. And so we have many couples who are literally separated by national borders, people forced to emigrate from the United States because they can't marry their partner and have them become citizens and allow them to work here in this country the way that heterosexual couples potentially can do. And as I said, not that it's easy for heterosexual couples, but it's not even an option for gay or lesbian couples. But Anita, I'd like to sort of back up, and if you could tell our viewers something of what Pueblo Sin Fronteras does. What are the sort of programs that you promote, and how you personally got involved in the immigrant rights struggle?
Well, Pueblo Sin Fronteras is a community-based organization. We have several programs within our center. One is an immigration attorney that we have to offer services as far as people who need a defense lawyer on immigration cases. We also have ESL classes, English as a second language. Also, we do citizenship workshops where we encourage residents who are here and are eligible to become citizens to become a citizen. And then also the voters registration drive that we also participate in to encourage new citizens to become registered voters, and also youth that are coming of age to become registered and also can vote. And then one of, our main goal is being at the forefront of the immigration movement. It's very important to us to struggle for legalization and some type of moratorium. What we're asking for right now, we really need to have a moratorium on the raids and deportations.
Absolutely.
Until legislation can make a decision on a just legalization, a just immigration reform for all the undocumented people living and working here with families. We're asking for a moratorium that'll stop the raids, stop the deportations, give these families some type of relief until legislation could come to an agreement.
Yeah, and one of the things that annoys me, an argument that I've heard from the other side any number of times is, well, they're illegal. They're illegal, as if that's the end of the argument and that's all there is to say. Well, let's take a look at some of these laws. For one thing, those who say, well, my grandparents or whatever got naturalized and whatever, did all the things necessary to become citizens. Well, the laws have, believe it or not, have become even much more racist over the past century. So it's much, much more difficult for people to be illegal. As people, when they say the word illegal, have got to start looking at what it actually means to people's lives in terms of families being broken up. I mean, you're here representing the youth movement. How many families get broken up by these racist laws? And for those of us in the gay and lesbian community, well, hello. For how many decades were we illegal? Just because someone is illegal doesn't mean that it's right, doesn't mean that that law should be followed, in my personal opinion. That really, you've got a situation, let's examine the law. Let's see if that law is truly just, if it's really in favor of human freedom or it's not, especially when you look at what this government has done to countries around the world through things like NAFTA, which is devastating Mexican farmers, as U.S. Government-subsidized corn, for example, devastates the Mexican countryside. People don't have any choice if they support their families, but to go someplace where they can make a decent living. So I think that, especially for those of us in the gay and lesbian community, where we were illegal literally until the Texas decision just a few years ago, let's examine the label of illegal and see if it really is a conversation stopper the way that people on the right wing would say it should be. But tell us about, let's shift gears again, Anita. Mm-hmm. You're involved in the youth program. Tell us about what that means in terms of what Pueblo Sin Fronteras does in terms of reaching out to people in the community.
Well, as far as the youth component is, we want to encourage the youth to stand up and to begin to start leading now. I know we like to say we're future leaders, but we can also do something now. And we're being affected now. The youth are being affected. There's 4.2 million U.S. children with either one or both parents who are undocumented. And I like, that you spoke about NAFTA and the laws, but right now the law is broken. And
yes.
So how are these people illegal if the law is broken? And if you're talking about something, you don't open a book and start reading a book in the middle. You
Mm-hmm.
have to look to the first page. And what is driving all these people over here, and what keeps driving them over here, and why don't they go back, and why can't they go back because of the free trade agreement? Why
Mm-hmm.
is their country and a lot of countries being affected by this government, by the U.S. government? And that's the direct effect of NAFTA. And then, once the laws are broken, you have to do something to make a change. Like Rosa Parks, when she sat down to make a change, she broke that law because the law was broken. Just like Elvira Arellano took sanctuary last year in a church, saying that I'm not going to leave my son. He's a U.S. citizen. His rights are being violated, and I'm going to stay here until she was eventually deported in California. Now we have a new woman who, Flor Crisostomo, is also taking sanctuary in our church in Humboldt Park, And I think the solidarity with the Puerto Rican community is beautiful. They're out there and they support this issue because it's not just an immigrant issue, it's a Latino issue. And there's a huge campaign of hate, not only on the Latinos, not only on the immigrant community, but like you said, on the gay and lesbian community. There's a whole campaign of hate that's going on right now, and we need to change that.